All of you who make gang-stalking videos should make videos about three things: gang-stalking, psychiatry, and politics. Ask yourself, what are the sociological effects of gang-stalking, if not feeding into the mental health sector? The mental health oligarchs, big pharmaceuticals, psychiatry, psychiatrists, hospitals, privately owned hospitals, kickbacks that are being paid to psychiatrists. The money is getting directed into the pockets of mental health, which is in turn is owned by the secret societies who have infiltrated the government, who have allowed gang stalking to continue and came up with the idea in the first place. Whether you trace it to the Ku Klux Klan, starting in a Masonic lodge in Tennessee, I believe it is, or whether you trace it to the ancient secret societies of Egypt, Rome, Greece, the Phoenicians, the Scythians, what have you, the Babylonians, the Sumerians. This is something that has been going on a long time for the political effects, the psychological effects, the sociological effects on society. The top psychiatrist in the last 100 years or so, Thomas Szasz, has said psychiatry is a fraud, it's a joke, and it's highly political. So, what happens individually? Let's look at that, then we'll look at the macroscopic effects afterwards. The individual effects is it causes you a lot of grief. Okay? You feel forlorn. You end up lamenting and being depressed. Some of you end up going to mental health, which in turn they give you powerful antipsychotic medications. These antipsychotic medications cause you permanent cognitive damage, permanent neurological damage. They affect your speech patterns. They cause hair loss. They cause diabetes, acid indigestion, heart disease, and in turn these things cause cancers. The rashes can lead to skin cancers. The acid indigestion can lead to stomach cancers, ulcers, kidney failure, liver damage, damage your bladder, because these powerful acidic psychotropic medications have to go through you. So thus they can cause kidney stones and other problems such as that, which can lead to cancer as well. Okay, cervical cancer, what have you, things that are too disgusting to talk about. These things can cause very serious side effects. They can damage your reproductive system. There's sexual side effects. All this is, well publicized. A lot of it is so commonplace that they had to put it in their list of side effects for legal reasons, not for moral reasons, mind you, because they advertise these things on TV, and they spend, they came out, 9 out of 10 pharmaceutical companies spend far more on marketing than they do on research. And if you put them all together, it's something like 10 times more is spent on marketing than research. And you can imagine that it's cost effective to take some of that money and bribe people, bribe politicians, you understand me? Bribe mayors, presidents, congressmen. Very cost effective. Because if you're going to spend it on marketing for the purpose of people getting it, then you're going to have to, then it makes sense to spend it on politicians to get them to push it as well as a, what they call a sound alternative to incarceration. You see a lot of that in the news. A lot of these liberal news channels, CNN, ABC, MSNBC, etc., NBC, you'll see them saying, well, we're putting all these mentally ill people in prison when we should be giving them quote-unquote help. Again, they don't understand human nature. One thing I constantly point out is I've been studying human nature for a long time. Part of my studying psychiatry inevitably led to me to study human nature. The human nature of these wolves in sheep's clothing who are doing this to people, who are practicing this pseudoscience. The human nature of people who are victimized by psychiatric institutions. Okay, look up the San Jose Mercury News article I've referenced 5 or 6 times, in 5 or 6 videos, is drugging our kids. San Jose Mercury News. Long article, covers a lot of it, a lot of the kickbacks, a lot of the money paid to psychiatrists to act as speakers and promoters of these irredeemable, unscrupulous agents of Satan who work for pharmaceutical companies, who own them, who invest in them. So ultimately, the reason why you should be talking about politics is what is the political environment that has allowed this to happen? You should be talking about psychiatry because they're the number one people who benefit financially and logically, socially, because once they make a lot of money, then they're popular with their friends. They go to clubs and get women. Hey, you want to come out to my yacht? Their social life increases. And the bigger sociological picture is you have a bunch of rich demons getting a bunch of hypergamous, unscrupulous, gold-digging whores to sleep with, to marry, what have you. I can't stress enough that you need to talk about psychiatry and psychology. This is a psychological operation designed to get you to the psychiatric ward. And then, once you're a usual there, you get transferred for longer and longer stays. Who's making money? The psychiatrists, the psych ward staff, the hospitals, the pharmaceutical companies, everybody they've paid off to continue this evil, odious, noxious operation. These people are pernicious, sinister sewage. And I can't stress that enough either. So, reflecting on what I've said, the three major points that I've made and I've proven and I've supported quite eloquently is you need to speak on gang stalking, the political climate, the environment, politics in general that have allowed this to happen, and the number one institutions, the number one types of people, the number one category of people who have benefited from this, which is the psychiatric industry, big pharmaceuticals and psychology, because they have psychologists doing this to you. And all psychiatrists are very well familiar with psychology, because mental disorders, mental illness, psychiatric disorders are also called psychological disorders, orders of the mind, orders of the psyche. Psychiatry is a fraud. Don't forget to make videos about them. No matter what they do, turn it up on them. Thank you.